Well, hello, my lords and ladies. Welcome to episode 1 of our Dungeon Saga's Origins painting series. We are doing the Human Barbarian Orlaf. We did a test run in this game, and I enjoyed it. Very Descent-ish, Hero Quest-ish, very quick and easy to learn, very easy. I really enjoyed it. As always, I want to thank my YouTube members. You guys are absolutely amazing. Can't thank you guys enough for all your contributions. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, hit the thumbs up. Leave me a comment if you want to see something painted. I always tell this to people, and nobody hits me up on it. I'll paint anything. But without further ado, let's go. Alright, after getting all your nasty mold lines off of your miniature, you are going to spray paint it in white. I use White Scar from Citadel. You can use Gray Seer. If you wanted to do black, you can. It just takes more time with the black undertone. So we're going to use Knight Questor's Flesh on all of our flesh areas to start it off. And if you need a full paint list, it will be in the description below, along with everything that I use as well. Now, if you're new to the channel or you have been watching, I like to mix up regular paints and your speed paints as well to save time, because when you get a whole box, such as like Dungeon Sagas, and there's so many miniatures, there is not enough time, unless you don't work or you just have an insane amount of time outside of your normal everyday life to paint. You need to kind of cut corners where you can, because it takes forever. So we're going to be using some speed paints. First one, we're going to be using a Skeleton Horde. On all of the skulls, there's 2 on the shoulders, 2 on the knees, and then 1 that is on the axe blade of our Human Barbarian. Next, we are going to be using some Black Legion on the hair of our Barbarian. Again, the white really sticks through the black portion of the hair, and that's what you want. It gives it a natural highlight. It's exactly what you want. It makes it that much better. Next, we have some Gore Grunta Fur on our fur areas around the waist area of our Barbarian. Again, another speed paint, speeding up the process, hence speed paint, and makes it look fairly nice with the white undertones with the natural highlights. For the other portion of the fur, we're going to use some Wyldwood on there. We're also going to use the same color on the belt of our Barbarian. Again, that white sticks through. I can't say it enough. It is the pivotal part of painting this miniature because it gives it that natural highlight. Next, for our strapped boots, we're going to be using some Snakebite Leather. Again, when you're painting with speed paints, get a good dollop on that brush. Don't go skimpy on it. You want those speed paints to sit in the recesses if you have a large surface area that's got a bunch of cracks and crevices. For the straps around our axe handle, we're going to be using some Aggaros Dunes, and we're also going to use this on the straps that are tying our blade together at the top near the skull as well. For the side armor pieces, we're going to be using some Basilicanum Grey on those. And we're going to be using this as well on the left shoulder armor piece for our Barbarian. And finally, to wrap up the base paints on this miniature, we're going to use some Mechanicus Standard Gray on the axe. Now, looking at the card art, it looked more archaic to me than it did modern or bronze era, so I went with a stone-looking axe rather than a metallic axe. For our wash step, we've only got 2 washes to use because we use a ton of speed paints and everything else. We don't need to wash that. You can if you want, but I never do. First one being the Nuln Oil on the axe blade, followed by the skin, which will be in Reikland Fleshshade, and you should see that right now. Alright, once your washes are completely dry, and I mean completely dry, there's absolutely no wash whatsoever anywhere, we are going to take our base paint of Night Questor's flesh, and we're going to do all of the raised areas. Now, when you're looking at the miniature, you can see that there is a bunch of muscular portions on our Barbarian, as there should be. We need to put those onto the raised areas, so keep those crevices dark, the recesses dark, and we're just focusing on the top raised areas, the hands, the nose, the cheekbones, the forehead, and the mouth, and we are just going to paint over that. You might want to do 2 layers of this, and we're going to be doing a couple more layers of different colors combined as well. Next, when you are satisfied with your reapplication of the Night Questor flesh, you are going to do a 50-50 mix of Cadian Fleshtone and Night Questor flesh, and we're going to be going over those same areas. Now again, the card art, the Barbarian is very dark skinned, but has some light tones to it, so we're just trying to make some light tones in certain areas and keep other places dark. So if you went over everything again with the Night Questor flesh, do about 75% with this mixture over those same areas to give it a nice gradient of tone. And finally, as the final highlight, we're going to do some Cadian Fleshtone. And again, you only want to do about 50% of those surface areas that you did with the last 2 colors we combined, the Night Questor's flesh and the Cadian Fleshtone. You really just want to get the dark tones to the medium tones to the lighter tones, and just get those nice little gradient to make our Barbarian kind of really pop out. And once you get the skin completely done, it really does make the miniature that focal point of the skin. It's actually pretty nice. No, I know you didn't see it in the last one, but I put white onto the eyes. I forgot to film it for some reason in the orbitals, and then I put just a little dollop of black, just a tiny little piece of black, Abaddon Black in there for the eyeballs, and that's all I did for that. After that, I did this Dawnstone and just picked out some pieces of hair on our barbarian's face and beard and gave it some nice little graying tones. Next, I'm going to use a dry brush, and we're just going to dry brush the same color onto the axe blade. Don't get a whole bunch under your dry brush. Make sure you get it all off on a nice paper towel or something, and just quickly dry brush that through. Next, we're going to do some Tyrant Skull, and we're going to dry brush all of our skull areas. So the two on the shoulders, the one on the axe blade, and the two on the knees, just to give it some of that white undertones. You could do some Ushabti Bone, some Screaming Skull if you would like, but I just wanted to speed this process up, whiten them up just a little bit, and then make them look nice. Next, for the fur area, we're going to use some Doombull Brown on top of certain areas. I didn't do the whole thing, I just picked out certain areas and then just kind of brighten them up with that Doombull Brown. The highlight is minimal, so you don't necessarily need to do this if you don't want, but I just did it anyway. Next, for the other part of the fur area, we're going to use some Baneblade Brown. And again, I'm just picking out areas in there. You could also do a dry brush on here if you would like. Again, the is very minimal how much you notice on this. You could skip it if you would like, but I went through with it anyway. Coming down to the wire here, working on the base. Now, obviously, in the beginning, I had forgot to mention this. I had put some earth texture down on the base before I spray painted it. That way, when I spray painted it, it was already ready to go. I then used this Gorthor Brown and put that all over the miniature base and let it dry completely. And once it's dry completely, we use some Agrax Earthshade on there. Again, if you've watched my videos, this is a very standard technique I use just to make it look decent and being able to get onto the battlefield or the board game. Let this dry completely, and then we are going to do your favorite part of painting the miniature because it means you're done. It's the rim of the base. And again, if you've watched these videos at all, you know that I paint every rim of the miniature in black, Abaddon Black. I don't know why. I just like it, I guess. And that's it. That's it. Again, like if you're looking at this, you know that the focal point is the skin. It makes the character, it makes the miniature. That was the point that sold me that these miniatures aren't that bad. They're decent. I give them a 5.5, maybe a 6 out of 10. They're no Warhammer, they're no Descent, but they're decent, so they're very paintable. Thank you for watching. If you're a subscriber, thank you for subscribing. If you are a YouTube member, I can't thank you guys enough. You guys are absolutely amazing. I keep doing these videos for you guys and the people who watch them. So if you want to see anything, and we also have D&D on tonight, Friday night. But without further ado, paint on.